Hey, welcome to Brake Magazine and our review of the LS2 Pioneer. The Pioneer is LS2's only dual sport adventure style helmet, and it's essentially identical to the LS2 Fast. The LS2 Fast is an MX helmet, and the differences really are just a visor and a few little tweaks here and there to move it from being a straight MX helmet to a kind of dual sport friendly helmet. There's a few things with the LS2 that are really nice, kind of little touches that LS2 have done that we really appreciate, and there's a lot of things that for a dual sport helmet don't really work that well. The first thing on our list is that the LS2 is made from their proprietary Kpa Shell. Now the thing we like about Kpa Shell is that in theory it's a little bit more protective and effective than a plastic shell. Most budget helmets come made out of plastic, they're thermomolded plastic with EPS inside, and the Kpa system design is a little bit more complex than that. One of the other really notable things about the LS2 Pioneer is the Ratchet System. Instead of using a D-ring like they do on the motocross helmet, they've installed a kind of quick release ratchet helmet system. Whether that's a problem is entirely personal. It really doesn't bother me in any way. It's kind of just a thing rather than a point of yes or no. So how does the LS2 Pioneer stack up against the competition? Honestly, it falls into the category of mediocrity. It's not great at anything. It's not horrendously bad at anything. It mostly feels like LS2 have done the bare minimum required to turn a motocross helmet into a dual sport helmet and start selling it. It doesn't feel like there's been a huge amount of development. One of the first things I did notice with the helmet is that the weight's pretty friendly. It's about 1,350 grams, give or take, and that's pretty nice on your head. A lot of dual sport helmets, especially more high-end ones, creep up to the 1,500, 1,600 gram mark, and if you end up with a modular one, like Touratech's modular helmet, then we're talking 2 kilos, and that's a really big difference on your neck. The next thing on the list that I do like is the glasses port. I wear glasses to ride sometimes, and it's really hard to wear glasses in most helmets. It's uncomfortable, and that's the reason I wear contacts. In this helmet, it gives you a little bit of freedom. If you are a glasses wearer, you don't like wearing contacts, the LS2 Pioneer, and I think most of LS2's range, has got you covered there. When it comes down to choosing what type of riding you like to do, the LS2 is a motocross helmet through and through, and that fits it squarely into the box of use for off-road, where road is a chore that has to be done. There are a couple of nice touches with the LS2 that I do appreciate. One is that the foams are really soft and comfortable to have on your face all day, but on the flip side, it feels budget. The foams are kind of thin, the whole helmet when you put it on feels kind of budget, and it creaks constantly. It creaks when you put it on, it creaks when you're riding. It's a creaky helmet, and it doesn't inspire you with confidence that it's a solid, well-built thing. The fit of the LS2 Pioneer is designed for oval heads, and generally for a medium-sized helmet, this was pretty spaciously designed. I wear a medium, and I'm a medium across every single helmet range, and this one felt really roomy, especially around the top of your head in this part. There's lots of space to give, and that's a little bit weird. While the helmet fits me relatively well, there's a few parts of it that don't fit me well. The first on that list is the internal sun visor. Now the internal sun visor feels like they added it because they felt like they needed to and a focus group told them to, but they put zero development and zero money into it. It's terrible. The way the helmet sits on my head, it sits quite high, and that's the comfortable position for me, and it means that the sun visor stopped exactly in the middle of my eye line, and we tested it with a few other members of the brake team, and everybody had the same thing. It's a really odd design that it doesn't come down far enough, and it means that when the road is bright and glary, it shines underneath the sun visor, and the whole system doesn't really work. When you add into the mix that the sun visor material is the same material that they make crazy cheap sunglasses from, so when it's sunny, it flares and you can't see, just the whole package is not really very good. It's kind of ineffective, and I'd much rather have a dark visor that I had to change occasionally than a really bad internal sun visor, because I'm still in the same situation. On that same note, the external visor is not very good either. because LS2 haven't moved away from the motocross shell shape, they've had to shoehorn a visor to fit the shell they've got. And with that comes a really big compromise. That compromise is in visual clarity. The problem with the visual clarity on this is that the sides are really straight, really flat, and then they have a sharp curve around the front of the visor, and you get all kinds of distortion. On top of that, I don't think it's the most expensively made visor. It is a budget helmet, I get that, but there's definitely some holes in the visual clarity that make me just want to wear goggles. Now, with any dual sport helmet, one of the biggest considerations is how it performs when you're riding on the street with the wind and how loud it is. Now, unfortunately, on the loudness department, the LS2 Pioneer is not a great performer. As we've said, with everything with this helmet, it's basically a motocross helmet with a visor, and with that comes almost zero noise protection. It's really loud, and unfortunately when you wear really quiet earplugs with it, for us, it amplified the noise that we got. So you could start to hear some high-pitched whistling that was coming from some poor aerodynamics somewhere, and that wasn't necessarily ideal. The solution that we settled on was actually wearing a slightly less dampened earplug. So we had some earpiece earplugs with the different inserts. And when we used a less quiet earplug, we got the helmet to be more quiet, but it is loud. That is the bottom line. This is a loud helmet. It's a motocross helmet. And the same kind of goes for the aerodynamics. The LS2 it's okay. It does catch the wind over about 70, but over about 70, it's really loud anyway. So we kind of never used it at that speed. What we found ourselves using this helmet for was when we were doing a lot of off-road riding and we were kind of just ambling along the lanes and the bits in between. It's great if you're a green laner because you've got the coverage of the visor if you do need to do some street miles or you're having a rainy day or whatever. But it is a motocross helmet, and with that comes some really, really big considerations. For a budget motocross helmet, it's actually pretty nice. It looks really good. I don't think anyone's going to deny that the LS2 Pioneer is a good looking helmet. We chose this colorway because we thought it looked good online, and it looks better in real life. The finish of the helmet is actually surprisingly good for a budget helmet. The paint's pretty nice. All the trim work is a really nice material. It's got this kind of generalized matte finish, and I don't think if you buy this helmet, you're going to be disappointed in that. Another thing on the list of things that I do like about this helmet is the visor closure. The visor closure is very positive. It's very easy to do when you're riding, and it's generally really nice. This is something that super expensive helmets struggle with, and so far the LS2 has been leak proof, and the visor has been really easy to deal with. It's just a shame it's hard to see through. So what do we think of the Pioneer overall? It's a good helmet. It's a good helmet, but it's not a great helmet and it's not a bad helmet. It is a £120 budget dual sport helmet, and there's some really big considerations with that. You can get it cheaper than that retail price for sure. And I think in terms of styling and looks, and if you wear glasses or something like that, you're not going to be disappointed. But if you can stretch your budget another 30 or 40 pounds, you can definitely step over a line to a better helmet than this. It's very middle of the road. It's very okay, but not great. And I think it probably serves a person that's going to do way, way, way more off-roading or dual sport riding or trail riding than it does someone that is doing any sort of road miles. I wouldn't buy this helmet if I was planning to ride on the street on a regular basis. I would buy something way more road biased than this, and I think that's the biggest consideration here. Otherwise, it's a decent helmet for the £100 mark. So if you like what we're doing here at Break Magazine, and you like our reviews and you want to see more, hit that subscribe button, give us a little like, drop a comment down below if you've got any questions, and hit that little bell next to the subscribe button. That'll kind of give you a notification when we've got a new video out. And the last point is we recently launched a Patreon account. Patreon is basically a system for you to be able to support us. We're an independent magazine. We have no ties to a media house in any way. And so for us, this is kind of an experiment. This is something that we're working with, and most of our funds at the moment come from advertising and doing external work. So if you want to help support us, head over to our Patreon. You can read more about what we're doing there. You can click on the link next to me. I think it's on this side. It is on this side. I checked the screen. And yeah, hopefully we'll see you in the next one. Thanks for watching.